Hello everyone, welcome to today's session, which is about how AI won't steal your job as long as you're like an AI PM. And you might have heard my name is Parth, so nice to meet everyone. And I want to thank our sponsors for an amazing conference, so we'll move along. A little bit about myself. I am an undergraduate in applied mathematics from UIUC. After that, I studied at Neumann for some advanced 3D development and art design courses. So I do game development on the side for fun too. Currently pursuing a master's in data science and AI at Harvard. So that's what I'm working on. As for work, I worked at Wolfram Research, did a startup called Gameathon, and currently I advise a few startups on their AI product strategy. One in edtech space, the other one in game development, combined with AI and VR space. And for fun, I do improv and take photography photos. So yeah,
Nice.
I'm up to 200,000 photos in the past 10 years. And just a little bit more about myself. I've been working in this space for 10 years. I've led 4 cloud products, 3 web, 56 mobile apps. So it's been quite doing that quite a bit. Over 25 million customers, and all of this has led to 46% revenue growth across those products. Also founded a game studio, which launched 3 titles. That was one of the most fun jobs I ever did, and one of the most stressful jobs I ever did. If you think you know anything about product management or want to learn, go work at a game studio that's like product management on steroids. The user feedback cycle. And currently, as I said, I'm learning AI and building AI products. Keyword, learning AI. No one knows all of AI. So if you don't know a lot of AI, you're not behind. You're still ahead because you were at this talk. So don't worry. And I would like to give a disclaimer, all opinions are mine. They are not representative of anyone, not either my past, of course, current, or future, let's just say that. With that, we'll talk about the table of contents. I'm gonna make up the time, so I'll go a little bit quicker. Let's do it. Okay, we all see these headlines every day. So it can be stressful, like, oh, yeah, it's coming to your job, it's gonna take your job. You know, the CEO of Anthropic said 50% of white collar jobs will be gone by 2028. Pretty scary to see because it's like 80 million people in the world. I want you to take all this fear and then do this. Breathe. Take a deep breath. Forget the news, just breathe and breathe and breathe. Your jobs are not disappearing, it's just your skills need evolving. That's all it is. We have gone through these industrial revolutions before. This is the 4th industrial revolution. Humanity's already done it 3 times, we can do it again. I have faith in us. With that, the most important part, everybody seems to forget. For product management, come back to the basics. Forget all the hype. There's hype cycles. There was the AI, there's the AI hype cycle. There was the VR, MR, AR, let's just call it the Bitcoin hype. I'd rather not discuss it. So there's hype cycle, things will go up and down. There's new frameworks being introduced every day, new tooling introduced every day. So how do you keep up with it? You don't try to keep up with it. You focus on the basics. What does a product manager do? I think they focus on 2 things. You focus on problems over features. Are you actually solving a meaningful problem? If you're not solving a meaningful problem, you're not really doing product management. You're doing full product management where you're just like, oh, I'm a feature factory. Let me just ship features here, there, here, there, here, there. And the second one is outcome. You can have one team working on a product for a year. If that product has a really good outcome, that team is equal to 200 teams giving 5,000 features in those 2 years. Now for the bit. Just remember, iPhone took 2 years, $100 million to develop. The team did nothing else. They did not focus on any feature. You know how many features they shipped in the first iPhone? 94. That was their feature count, like what are we giving to the end user? It was not 4,000, it was 94. Focus on the outcome. Your user satisfaction is key, and don't get feature factory in. And as we go through, I want you to think one thing. Whenever you're trying to solve a problem, everybody will be like, use AI. Stop. Think about it. Do we even need AI to solve this problem? Because to be honest, 80% of the time you can do it without AI. So keep that in mind as we move forward. So with that, what are your core PM skills as we're talking about basics? Clear communication. If you can articulate what's in your head, you are not going to be a good PM. So without AI, focus on that. I know you can have ChatGPT write your emails. I don't personally do it. I write all of my emails 3-4 times just to get the clarity across, and that is what I focus on. Repeat your message. There was a recent study that it takes about 7 to 11 times for your message to stick in someone's head. So if you get sick of saying your message, you have probably said it just the right amount of times. The next one, customer obsession. Stay close to your users. That is the key. Remember, we talked about outcomes. These are the customers that are going to drive that outcome. When you want to think about customer obsession, think about helicopter parenting. You're like literally hovering over your customers to get feedback. There was one time I sat with a customer for 8 hours. I observed her user software. I had 11 pages of notes, and afterwards she's like, "Are you like writing my biography or something?" I was like, "No, I was just observing." I did not say a word to her while observing. Be a good helicopter parent. Don't be like in there, but like be right next to them. Next one, unapologetic prioritization. How many times have you said yes today? More than once probably, right? Unless you've made somebody angry, you have not said no enough times. Learn to say no. I say no in my job probably like all day long. Sometimes people are like, "Oh, it's Parth, we're gonna say yes to this." I'm like, "Nope." Yeah. No. And then the next one is execution excellence. Focus on shipping quality product. A lot of people sort of just like, they'll discuss it so much, but never ship anything. Reid Hoffman said it, if you're not embarrassed of your first version, you ship too late. Ship often, but still be quality. I don't mean like ship often, but ship garbage. Nope, ship good quality, like what you're happy with, and ship it often. Next one, strategic vision. Look at where your company is today and where you want to go. Think 10 years out. Most PMs are going from problem to problem. What is your strategy? For example, like in healthcare these days, the problem is healthcare is too expensive. So what PMs will do is like, oh, how can we make it cheaper for this, procedure? How do we lower the price of this procedure? Wrong approach. Think about how you get healthcare to be affordable across the board. And you know who did it very well? Amazon, their Amazon clinics. No worries. And the last one, the most important one that is super important in the age of AI, deep work. Don't be a notification junkie. Like every day it's like, oh, this model did this model did this. Has anybody read AInews.com? It is a website with all of AI news that comes out in the world in one place. I opened it one day, I got a headache, I closed it, I've never visited it ever since. Yeah, that is literally the cycle of like what you call anxiety is the word I would use if you ever open it. So why did we talk about the core PM skills? Here, let me tell you. AI PM, what's the key word in there?
PM.
Thank you. If you don't have the core skills, you're not going to succeed at your job. AI will replace you. So learn the core skills. Once you have those, you can learn the AI PM skills. And by the way, the core skills are 80% of your job. Nothing has changed about that. First one, AI literacy. Learn how AI works. What are the models? What goes in it? You don't need to code, but you need to have an understanding. And in thinking about it, think of AI like a brain. You make your map of like how information flows in AI models across. A really good book for this is AI Engineering by Chip Hewen. It is the best AI resource I have read in my life yet. She is the most in-depth author, but the way she conveys it is just so natural. You read it, you're like, oh, I did not even know I knew that, but now it makes sense. Very amazing.
What was her name?
Chip Hewen. ChipHyuen.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, data fluency. Okay, how many times have you seen products which are built amazing but give garbage results? I'm gonna think of one that recently released or is about to be released. It's something to do with AI and glasses. Ray-Ban might be involved in it. So understand where your data sources are, what's the bias between that data source, and how are the labeling strategies. By label, I mean like if you take an image for this room, you would label chairs, screens, people, like how are the data labeled? Key. Because remember, garbage in is still garbage out. If you have bad data, you're gonna get bad results. AI will not clean that up. And interesting thing about AI, with AI, this problem is 10 times worse. Before you could get away with it slightly, now it's like AI will expose all your bad data. Next one, have a research mindset. This is, with AI being a new field, a lot of avenues are not gonna work. They will fail. So what do researchers do? They try multiple approaches. When one fails, take a different one. Learn through user experience. Ask your users. Research does not end like at the model stage. You ask your users, you learn how products work. Research other products. Always ask like, what is the evidence saying? Does it make sense for me to do it? Sorry about that. Okay.
Will you be sharing the deck with us?
Yes. Try this. You know, we can get AI, but the day somebody fixes projectors and printers, that could be the next $1 trillion company.
There you go. You got one of them up.
Okay. Well, everybody look over there. We'll go over from there.
They're both up now.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, if anybody has ideas to start a projector or printer company, please reach out to me. We'll do that one. Next one is ethical judgment. Users needed to have trust in their product. Before, we have gotten away with it. That is paramount now. Trust is your core feature. If you cannot trust the product you're building, users will not use it. Trust, trust, trust. Do you trust some of the LLMs you use? Ask yourself that question, and that will tell you which ones to use, which ones not to use. And think about like, is there user trust? Is the model fair to what you're trying to do with it? Evaluation design is the new hot topic these days. Are there good evals, bad evals? Like, are they hallucinating? Are they not hallucinating? What's the cost per task? Again, go back to fundamentals. If you trust the answer, is the eval good or bad? Remember, forget the hype. Focus on the core principles. They will always get you out of jam, and that is how good products are made. Technology you can learn any day. You have learned all the technologies. If you don't have core principles, you're building a house on, let's just say, not solid foundations, and it's gonna come down with it. And as you talked about, core PM skills, and when we talked earlier, they're still timeless. Key, 80% of your job will still be that as AI PM. So with all these skill sets, what do you do as an AI PM day-to-day? This is just an example that I would have done, so I would do. First, you're still defining the product problem in the data set, core PM skill. And also ask, remember, do I even need to use AI? How many times do we get an answer like, no, we can do it with traditional machine learning or just, I have an example. Somebody's like, oh, you can plug all this in data into Copilot analyst agent and get the response. I'm like, I can look at the Excel and figure out it's right there, that column. You don't need to ask analysts, that's gonna mess up your data source. Next one, align engineering, data science, research, and legal. Again, you are the linchpin. They say product sits between all these domains. I would say more. It doesn't sit with them, it sits with them. It's not between them, it sits with all of them. They're your friends, so you're still gonna align people. And one of my favorite parts is their new kind of metrics, success metrics. No longer KPIs, user engagement. All of that is kind of away, because we all know you can cheat on them in some ways, like defining how you define your metric, your product can be extremely successful. Yeah. So new metrics are accuracy, what's your win rate, hallucination rate. You want to have that very low. The products that do it well today with very low hallucination rates are doing amazing. I'll give a few examples of these later on. And what's your cost per task? You don't want to end up owing Microsoft or Amazon millions of dollars. So don't forget that. Own the UX of uncertainty. A lot of times your products are not going to work how you imagine them to work. There will be uncertainty. Have you designed for it? How are you going to deal with it? What's your fallback? And always ensure your product is safe, responsible, and compliant. Compliance has not been a big issue in AI, but I have a feeling moving forward, in a lot of countries, compliance will become a bigger and bigger issue, how you deal with it. I believe it was one of the Nordic countries recently copyrighted all the facial voice data to the user. So how do you deal with that? Okay.
You're back.
Okay, perfect. Okay, we'll talk about new products. If you were to build them today, this is what your day-to-day responsibilities would be like. First is Duolingo. How many of you guys use Duolingo? Amazing. I love Duolingo. They have one of the best marketing and product teams I've ever seen, by the way. So they have really good UX guidelines for preventing hallucinations. And the reason for having this is like, when you're trying to learn a little new language, you want to learn it right. There's a few tweaks you can make to words that have completely different meanings. So you need these guardrails, and they've done a great job of doing this. So that would be like, they have good data, they're ensuring their product is safe. Next one, Copilot. GitHub Copilot, sorry. It speeds up coding. The success metric for a lot of these tools before was how many lines of codes can it write for you. That is no longer the case. The success metrics is compile time and error rate. You want the compile time to be low, or you want the error rate to be low. And if any product has their success metric to be the output length or anything, run away from that product, do not work there. That is failure written all over it.
Which company was that?
The second one?
Second one.
GitHub Copilot, so Microsoft. Yeah.
And can you give an example of a guardrail, UX guardrail?
Yeah, so for Duolingo, like a lot of times, like if you misspell the word in Duolingo and try to do the pronunciation right, you're like, no, you meant to say this. They'll fix it, so that's a guardrail. So some of the other ones, like I know there's been like a lot of people use LLMs as personal therapists in a way, so they are working on guardrails for those. So think about guardrails as that. I worked on a product where like we wanted to be the scope very limited. So anything outside of that domain, if you ask that, I'm sorry, I cannot answer you. If you have questions about related topics, I'm more than happy to answer it. So the guardrail will be like, these are the 500 topics I've approved it. Anything past that, do not ask. So one of the other examples I know is like there's an insurance company that uses automated phone service to answer questions about your policy. They will not answer any questions related to your health. Like if you say, oh, I have stomach pain, they will let me connect you to your practitioner. They will just not answer any question. And that is very key. Imagine if you call your insurance company and they're like, hey, my stomach is hurting, what should I do? They're like, well, your insurance doesn't really allow for you to pay, so I would suggest you just suffer in peace. Yeah, so focus, those are the guardrails I need.
And they can use the AI to generate the guardrails.
You can, it's not very good, I've seen it. So you still need like a human in the seat, and that's why I'm saying like as an AI PM, you really should think about guardrails. Good.
In my experience, so I work as a product manager in financial services, and usually my company will have something called like the legal risk compliance, like a weekly office hours, and for product managers to drop in, like basically demo like what we're trying to build next, and that's where we collect the feedback from those folks about what is permissible and what is not, and use that to refine the product and add the guardrails.
Yeah.
It goes. So that's just my personal experience.
Yeah, no, and that's perfect because it goes back to core skills. If you were to build a normal product, you would think about all the edge cases. That's what guardrails are, is the edge cases. Like what are you allowing your user to do? What are you not allowing them to do?
Yeah, like if you work in a heavily regulated industry like financial services, like imagine we're saying about healthcare, like you have HIPAA, and then like in banking, like you have fair lending, Bank Secrecy Act. You have like whole like legal compliance and benefits just making sure like, and you can't build anything without going through those toll gates.
Yeah, exactly. So still, all of those are super important. Because like if you build the product wrong, it's going to give the wrong answer all the way down. And that will hurt your company's trust rate as well. So what I really like is Ada Health. So they give you next step recommendations based on your conditions. But they have this amazing feature is like, if they're not sure, they will be like, let's get you to a doctor. So that is like the safety mechanism here. It's like, hey, I'm not sure what you're having. Let me connect you to an ER or urgent care. You can go from there. So that's your day-to-day. How do you get to that day-to-day? This is your skill set. Learn the basics again. Andrew has an amazing course called AI for Everyone. Very few people know it. It is like one of the simplest courses I've ever seen on AI. It's to the point, gets across the point. Play. How many times do we build anything or play? People will be like, oh, I have this tool, I have this tool. Forget all the tools. Focus on 2 tools you like, or you like their name. Personally, I love Claude name. That's how I started using Claude. I'm like, this sounds fun. ChatGPT, you're like, oh. So I started using Claude. That's how I got into it. Use the tools. You can brainstorm, like you can simulate customer sessions. For example, I had a product idea I wanted to get feedback on without letting it out in the world. So I gave it a panel of 5 people. Be like, here's 5 people from you I want you to focus on. This is their persona, this is the product I'm building. What would be your opinions? What would be your challenges to it? Help me refine my thinking. I'm not having it build a product, I'm just getting a feedback without talking to people. And in very early stages, that's kind of useful. Because you do know like 40% of all the modern LLMs source their data from Reddit. So all the people's opinions somewhere are there, so you can get it good. And one more thing I would like to say, learn prompting. Prompting is the key. You can use any framework you like. Prompting is not about like how you write stuff, it's about the clarity of thought you have when you ask a question. I've seen people write, oh, give me the meeting notes from this meeting. Very simple prompt. Come on, it's gonna be a bad prompt. It's like, these are the notes I took from this meeting. Give me additional notes, supporting material, and what were the decision items per person. This is how your human brain thinks. AI is never gonna beat human brain, regardless of what anybody says. Human brain has way more connections than any AI system will ever have.
So what I've done in the past is I used, so I'll conduct like case discovery, and user research. It's still like manually me doing it. But then like I'll take my handwritten notes. I would then ask like ChatGPT to like write it into like a standard feature format, like some of the problem based on my notes, the problem statement, the feature that the general description of the feature, acceptance criteria, restrictions, and then I'll give them like 90% share allow for me to work with the developers on breaking down the user stories into what we build. And also another LLM tool I found very useful is Google's LLM. I mean, I haven't used it. You've probably seen the stories of the realistic podcast host just upload a PDF or an MP3 file. Like I've been doing it from an MBA class, like collecting my lecture notes, upload it, like give me like the executive summary, and then have the host talk about this because the professor doesn't record his lecture. But just discuss the material. I found that very useful to recap what I'm learning.
Yeah, and that just goes back like play with the products, try them out, what works for you, because like everyone has different ways of working. I am a very visual learner, so I had Claude create me images and flows all the time of things I want to learn. I literally like scan a page and be like, give me a visual summary of how to remember this page. So yeah, that is super helpful for me. You have learned it all. This is the part most people forget. Build something with it. I don't care what you build anything. Literally, you can take all your personal notes you have about a topic and run a RAG, which is just a fancy way of like, here's additional information with your LLM, give me information back. That's all RAG means. It's, what is it? I always forget. Generation. Not important to know the words. Forget the high, focus on the principles. So I actually have a personal LLM running that has all my health data, all my house data, and I'm trying to find a correlation, like does my body respond differently to different temperatures? I would not trust any LLM to have it. That's all it is, like it's a personal project. Those LLMs cost me nothing to run. So build something with it. And if you're in a professional setting, partner with your data science and machine learning teams. They are your next best friends these days. Maybe take some donuts. If they're vegan, take them something else. Help them out. They will teach you everything you need to know as an AI PM. Remember the core skills we talked about it? On top of that, you have a little bit more soft skills. On top of that, you have the technical skills. These are the two teams who can give you those technical skills. If you have a problem, just be like, how would you solve it? Go ask them that question, how would you solve it? They will give you an end-to-end flow. Every engineer loves talking about how they develop the solution to a problem. So yeah. Next one, read. I read daily basis on like an hour to 2 hours. It's like my most time-consuming activity in the day. I read a lot of newsletters, but I'm particular what I'm going to read on. I'm not going to just consume anything. With the advent of there is a lot of content being generated at a faster pace than you can consume. So for example, Lenny's newsletter, it is one of the top sources for product management. He does not believe in the hype. He will not talk about the hype. He just gets to the people behind the hype. What is their flow? Think about it. Kay Lee's Human-Centered AI is an amazing book. I would highly recommend you read that. I believe she's a professor at Stanford, if I remember right. And in all of this is quality over quantity. Do a few things, but do them well. Remember when I was talking about like there is a new model out every day, there's a new product out every day. Forget all of them. You're never gonna remember them. You're just gonna end up anxious. You'll be fearful. Focus on learning a few. I sometimes only use like 2 AI products a day, that's it. After that, I'm like, I don't have the time or the capacity to go through the rest. So focus on 2, do them well, and that will get you like 90% there. So, with all in all, don't fear AI. I don't fear it. I use it every day. Use AI. Like, so I have this mindset I call, can I only do this task just using AI? Even very simple. Like, sometimes I have to do a big workflow. I'm like, what would be my thought to do this work? Just AI. It might be 50 steps long, but if you start thinking about everything, like how do you leverage AI to do, you don't have to use AI. It's just you have to train your mind to solve problems with that tool set. Build with AI. We already talked about how to build. Lead with AI. So a lot of people, there's a fear, as we talked about, like, oh, yeah, it's gonna take my job now. AI is your partner. It's a silent partner per se, which has no voting rights. You control all the voting rights for it. So, yeah. And future-proof with AI. Most important one, leave your house once in a while. Go touch the grass, get some sunshine. AI is not the end of the world. Yeah, don't get stuck into the hype cycle. And with that, I would love to connect with you, and I will take questions. I think I got 2 minutes.
What did you last build?
Oh, right now I'm building a game agent that scans all your 3D assets and find out the bugs in them.
Nice.
Yeah, because that is a huge market of problems. Like 2D games are fun, 3D, the problems don't multiply 3 times, it's 300 times with assets. Yeah.
So speaking of alleviating bugs, I'm curious about your take on how a lot of people kind of vibe code it, but they do it maybe naively because they don't have an engineering background, they don't know to ask. Like you were saying, they kind of have malformed prompts, so they don't know to ask for quality to exist in their output. Are you seeing a behavioral shift at all, and people starting to be more aware of, hey, add unit function tests, make sure the tests pass, this kind of stuff?
I'm not seeing a behavioral shift. What I'm seeing is easier to spot who spend the time doing the work versus who just put it together. It's very easy to spot like a good white coding project versus a bad coding. And I don't have a problem with white coding. I have a problem with people using it the way it's not meant to. So that's what I was saying. Like if you have really clear chain of thought, like how you would approach the problem, like these are the things I want to build. This is how I want to build it. This is my data set. These are my deployment services. For those, you don't need a technical mindset. You just need to have your problem defined well enough, and then you can build some amazing projects. Yeah. Good.
Through that window frame of self-referentialization of AI, like it's consuming itself at this point, and your recommendation from a PM perspective is, hey, let's use it for UX research, and from a human factors perspective to stand in for an early product synthesis, say, oh, is this an issue of validity?
Yep.
Well, if we're quickly approaching a precipice where self-referentialism is a real problem, and you're like, the thing's eating 40% of Reddit all the time, like, can we in good ethos as product partners and product entrepreneurs say that that's a good practice to be supplanting AI implementations for human factors research? That seems, I don't know, I totally get it. Like we have to do what we have to do within the time frame we have, and this is a tool, but that is a bad UX practice in my opinion.
So I wouldn't say it replaces it. The way I would use it is early validation. You put
But
it.
it's being used to replace people's jobs.
That goes back to mine. You have to use ethical judgment part, right?
They're not. We're not.
Yeah. So I would highly disagree with that part. Another way to think about this problem is like AI is really good at voice. So one of the problems I recently solved is like we had 1,600 stakeholders for something. When I say stakeholders, I mean customers. You can have an AI agent go interview them, get all their feedback, and compile it down. Still, humans are in the loop. We did not replace what we built on top of their Reddit. We asked them a list of questions, a list of feedback we wanted to get for them. So think of using AI that way, and if companies are continuing to use it, it will show up in the product. Yeah, bad UX practice live very long inside companies. They die very quickly outside of companies. I hope I answered your question. Thank you. Other questions? Okay. If not, thanks everyone.